Welcome back to another episode of Sound Pals Go to the Movies. Today I'll be reviewing the movie Gladiator II. So just a fair warning, there's going to be spoilers up ahead, so you've been warned. After his home is conquered by the tyrannical emperors who now lead Rome, Lucius is forced to enter the Colosseum and must look to his past to find the strength to return the glory of Rome to its people. So now let's begin with my first pro. The fight scenes. They were good, but it did remind me of other movies, mostly 300. I think it was due to the color tint they used for those scenes, and also when they did sneaky stuff around Rome, especially with the mother, it was a different color tint. I would say grayish white, if that makes any sense, but I did like the Gladiator arc part when Denzel's character was introduced. It gave it something to look forward to. Next pro, the cast. Well, I have to say Denzel did steal the spotlight, and rightfully so. It was his character's role and persona, and he nailed it. I gotta say, Pedro Pascal just kept the movie going for the viewers to just meet the other cast. And we got to see the twin emperors, which they were douchebags and well-played ones, but Pedro Pascal and Paul Mescal characters do have a story, but it's a basic one. Paul plays Lucius, the son of Lucilla. She had him sent off at the end of part 1, but we did not see it in the movie. But it did happen, and the reason was because part 2 had to happen. Then Pedro plays General Acacius, and now married to Lucius's mother. He is now sent to conquer the city in which Lucius lives with his wife, but he does not know this. And during the fight, his wife ends up dying because it's a battle, but Lucius blames Acacius for this and tries to seek revenge. He is then taken prisoner after the battle and then sold to Denzel to become a gladiator. And from there is just, I want my revenge. And the other is like, I don't want to fight anymore to gain land for the twins because they are idiots, but I have to do it just to keep up the facade. And Denzel is just like, I want power. King Kong ain't got nothing on me. Wrong movie line, but still the same vibe. Next pro, the story is simple to follow, and some viewers will be grateful for that because yeah, it was 24 years after the first movie. So the idea that they kept it small and simple is a pro, I would say. Now let's move on to the cons. Simple story, but I feel that they could have done more because they had some far reaches in the movie and they didn't need to use those, but they could have used other things they had in their bag. They could have had deeper dialogues between the general, Lucius, or his mother. I think the only one that had good lines was Denzel because he is the mastermind or the puppeteer in this film. I mean, his dialogue between him and Lucius was so interesting. I really liked that scene, and any scene that they actually had dialogue between each other, because they were the kind of people that were, I would say, smarter than anybody else in the film, and they knew what was going on or how to manipulate people, since Lucius was trying to hide that he was really Lucius, but Denzel wanted to use Lucius to gain power. The one that I liked the least was the mom. It seemed like she lacked lines and was just moping around saying, oh, my son. She was feeling bad for herself and didn't really add much to it, but just kept the plot line going. Now, if she would have gotten into arguments with really good dialogue with Denzel's character, and they use words to fight instead of them physically going at it with witty lines for those times, then that would have been a word battle, and I wanted to say fans would probably really appreciate that. Then a woman would have just whooped Denzel's ass with words. Also, the twins, I never expected much from them than just the visual shock, because I didn't even know how they came into power, or maybe I just overlooked that part because it was kind of boring. Next con, the length is almost 2.5 hours when it could have easily been cut down to 2. If it was 2.5, I would demand more witty lines and deeper lore, but I was really not entertained with the runtime and the interesting dialogue ratio, and that for me was a letdown for the film. Next con, some fights were really far reaches. For example, the Colosseum filled with water and sharks just so they could have 2 ships fighting inside in a small area. That seemed impossible for them to pull off, since the ships would have to churn and sell, not to mention how did they get the ships in there in the first place without dismantling them. Also, the water and the sharks. Remember, Rome's population is starving and just dying on the streets, and the twins have the ability to transport sharks and salt water into the Colosseum and plug it so the water will stay inside. Okay, this was the worst scene in the movie, I would have to say. Never mind the action, I just gave up trying to make a reason for this scene and I couldn't come up with any, so I lost interest in the whole scene and the fight. So my grade for this film is going to be a 6.5 out of 10. I was not bored, but not what I expected for a 24-year wait. Also, I think I would have liked it more if I did not rewatch the first one before I went to see this one. So for those who haven't seen the first one, just wait and go see this film. And if you are confused at the end, then go back home and watch the first one just to clear up the misunderstandings or the questions you have. Heck, you might not even care and need to watch the first one. If you watch the second one, it's still a good standalone movie, but if you watch the first one, you might have more questions than answers. But if you love the first one, then go see this, but don't expect much. It's a decent film, kind of a filler. It won't be the same as the first movie. That's all I gotta say. Bottom line, did we need this sequel? No. Was it a bad sequel? No. Some scenes are bad, but overall it was okay. I guess I just really wanted more cowbell. So that does it for this review of Gladiator 2. Please join us next time where we're going to review September 5th.
What do I tell the cameras?
What do you mean?
I mean, can we show someone being shot on live television?
Please like, comment, and subscribe. You can find our social media links below. And like always, keep watching movies.